I remember getting this phone call, my dad was telling me, hey, like you have an opportunity it looks like they want you out there in Thailand. There was a brother that I met, he kept telling me about, traveling down to South America, how he's having the time of his life. And then I actually mentioned to him, like, hey, I got a chance to play in Thailand. So each league, the pay category is broken down. The PBA paying the most. That's typically around, with imports, that's typically around 20,000 a month. That's just starting. But I've heard NBA players getting into that league, they're making well over 70, 80,000 a month. And then you have the NBL league in the Philippines. That league typically pays around $3,000 to $5,000 a month.
That's good money.
Yeah, $3,000 to $5,000 a month. I was hearing nothing but good things about Thailand, and then I just said, why not? Hey, it's your man D-May, international hooper. Welcome to Thailand.
So you know what, man? Out of the guys that I meet overseas, right? It's a lot of ex-military guys, active military guys, a lot of IT guys. Of course, you got your content creators. But every now and then, I run across a ball player, right? And most of the time, it's going to be basketball. So let me ask you this. Let's go from the very beginning, man. When you was hooping in high school, did you know that you was going to be playing internationally? Like, was that your plan, or was it the NBA was your plan?
I didn't even play in high school. I didn't even play high school basketball at all. I was too small.
Word? Okay.
Yeah. It's hard to believe, I know, but I was too small. I couldn't get on the team. I played I can't even count this. I played 1 year junior varsity. A lot of those guys, man, they were bigger, stronger. They had a lot of Division I offers. I grew up in New York City. I grew up in Brooklyn. I eventually moved to the Bronx, but I went to high school in Harlem. I remember going to the tryouts, couldn't get a spot, couldn't get on the team. And then there was time, I didn't have a growth spurt till I was 17, 18. That was freshman year in college.
I know in New York, East Coast in general, that basketball competition is pretty stiff.
It's serious.
It's like culture out there.
Yeah, and you basically the invisible guy. If you undersized, I'm a late bloomer to this. If you undersized, chances are people really not gonna look at you. So you really gotta make sure your game stands out. So that summer graduating high school, I noticed that a lot of the guys that had, these Division I offers, they didn't even go. I think it was 2 of my boys actually went on and played college basketball. The other guys, they fell victim to the streets, unfortunately. And that was motivation for me, to stay on the right path, stay hungry at this, and, more importantly, to take school serious. Right. So I went to school. I went to nursing school. It was a Division I school. I got my opportunity. I tried out. I went on as a walk-on. The school was in New Jersey, Fairleigh Dickinson University.
Yeah, and for guys who don't know, on the East Coast, anything from North Carolina on up, it's basketball is very serious out there.
Yeah.
Down after North Carolina on down, it's probably about football. Everything is football, but I know the competition is really stiff. So basically, you was pretty much like a college walk-on?
Yeah, I was a walk-on. I didn't have any scholarships. No opportunity was coming my way. So I just had to become a gym rat. That's the way I survived. That's the way I got my opportunities. I just, my natural thing was just hard work. I got pleasure off working on my game, working on my craft, and, for the most part, staying true to myself, not getting involved with the nonsense going on in the streets of New York City. I was surrounded by a whole bunch of guys I didn't want to be like. That was more my motivation. So growing up in my environment, it wasn't a lot of role models. It was just a whole bunch of dudes doing negative. I didn't want to be part of that.
What made you take that leap to play basketball overseas?
I remember, my first nursing job, I was working. I noticed that I was, still in shape after playing at that level, still wanted to play. I was going to open gym every day, and then I still had the hunger to play, even though I was, working my 12-hour shifts. And the overseas opportunities didn't start. So now I'm talking around 2017, 2018. So my overseas journey and my opportunities didn't start peaking till 2021, 2022. So around that time, I had no idea. I didn't even really know too much about like, you know, the pro leagues in, you know, the United States outside like the NBA or the G League. You know, we had the ABA league. That was the league I predominantly played in. And we had the TBL league as well. When I eventually moved to, you know, California, I got out there around end of 2019, early 2020. I got out there. I was playing in the TBL league, but unfortunately the pandemic hit. But I was creating so much ruckus on the court, I was able to get an opportunity to play out here in Thailand. But before I came out, you know, to California to play, I was playing in the ABA league in New York, and that's how I got recruited to California to end up playing.
Okay, so you can pretty much join a league, and then they can give you like access to an overseas contract. Is that how that works? Or
No,
or you put like a highlight reel together. Like, do you apply for these overseas basketball positions yourself, or?
You can, but it's very hard. It's good to have your own film ready, and typically, it's like, you know, quarterly. Each team or each league, they'll announce like a big combine. So you'll go to a combine maybe in Las Vegas. Sometimes they'll have one in New York. You know, down in Florida, it'll be about 200 players. So, and they'll announce like, these are the teams, these are the leagues that are looking for players, that are looking for guards, looking for big men. So it's your job to make sure that you show out. And a lot of teams too, they hold their individual, you know, combines. You just gotta be on the lookout for those. And then when the opportunity usually comes for overseas, you know, you have a good season, your coach deems you as coachable, you put together your highlight tape, agents will typically find you. That's the best way to get your opportunity to play overseas.
Okay, so how did you get your first overseas contract?
Yeah, so I was playing out there in San Diego. It was a TBL league down there in San Diego. I remember playing pretty well, and then I remember getting a phone call. I played for this team for about 2 years. I remember getting this phone call. You know, my dad was telling me, "Hey, like, you have an opportunity to. It looks like they want you out there in Thailand." So at first I was just like, "Oh, you know, I'm not too sure." You know, I wasn't so aware about the travel game too much, you know. And then working my travel nursing contracts, there was a brother that I met. He kept telling me about, you know, traveling down to South America, how he's having the time of his life. And then I actually mentioned to him that, hey, I got a chance to play in Thailand. And I was also getting an offer too from some small country. I think it was one of those countries, Moldova, out there in Europe. I didn't want to be that far away from home, so I just turned down that offer. But I was hearing nothing but good things about Thailand, and then I just said, why not? So I started doing my homework. That's how I met my man here at BMT. You know, he's giving us all kind of game. I met the brother Richie Max, who went to Thailand, El Guapo, you know, and I just started realizing, you know, maybe traveling will give me more opportunities, and also learn more about, you know, different culture. Because, you know, as New Yorkers, man, like we get caught up in our own world. Like, we think the world revolves around the 5 boroughs. Even as Americans, man, we don't travel enough. We don't, you know, we're not open to learning other cultures. We swear that our way is the right way to do things. And as I live out here, you know, in Thailand, I see that's not the case. You know, we kind of do things backwards in the United States, you know, and I think we have a lot to learn from like other cultures as well. Yeah, this is the Access Condos right here. This spot was built in like 2014, 2015. One thing about the infrastructure in Thailand, man, it's top notch. It's real similar to the United States. That's why when I got the opportunity to play out here, I didn't hesitate. I did my homework on Thailand. I met my brother BMT, you know, he put me on the game out here, and then the rest was history. So this is a model like what I have.
Okay.
Check it out. It's good. This spot is going for 30,000 baht. It's a good model, but this is what you get in the duplex.
Oh, nice. This is very nice.
Yeah. So my model, everything is like in reverse though. So my stairs are gonna be on this side, but it's the same thing. know me, I'm all about the features of the bathroom. If it don't look modernized, I don't deal with it. This is similar to what you're gonna get in the United States. Spot like this in the States, man, this will be about, if you was renting, so 30,000 baht, that's about $850 US. You bring this spot right here, you bring this to California, you bring it to New York, this is gonna be about 5,000 US dollars, if that. It's probably gonna be more than that, especially if you buy a city.
Oh, easy.
We getting ripped off in the States, man. You can't go wrong with this. Got a gym, this gym is long too.
It's a nice size gym.
Got a nice view right here. The Buddha's up this hill.
Guys, so you see this
Sometimes,
right here?
yeah, sometimes, man,
Y'all see this?
sometimes I go hit them stairs too, get that conditioning right. See them stairs over there? Hit them stairs, go all the way up, takes you all the way up there to the Buddha, get that cardio in, good to go.
Yeah, people don't know about them stairs, man. If you really want to burn fat.
And it's heat too.
And then, I don't know if you guys can see, but that's a beautiful ocean view in the background right there.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's the lat pull down machine,
You
get your back right.
gotta pick up one of the weights like James, man. You gotta
Yeah.
the one armor.
Don't let me make it wrong to you.
Yeah, you already know. We're gonna go for the heaviest one. Let's get this thing up.
All right, let me see if I can hit it real quick.
Yeah. God damn. Here you go. Here you go. They always build a new architecture out here. Check this out. It's gonna be a new, I don't know what company's making this build, but they've been working on it for about a couple of months now. They build up quickly.
Okay.
The spot's gonna be brand new. We got the infinity pool right here. Showers. You know, we got a couple over here, they cooling out. And I think over here, I'm not too sure, this is the regular pool. I think this is I think this pool's like heated, like when it gets a little, Thailand for the most part, we think it's burning hot all year round. Kind of have like a cool down season towards the end of the year. So probably want to get into like a little heated pool, or it's like a jacuzzi. It's perfect.
How do overseas leagues compare to like American college ball or semi-pro ball? Are there like different rules or?
Yeah, well, it depends on the league that you're in. So a lot of people think like with playing overseas, they think like it's just one big league, but you have different classes of overseas leagues. I'm gonna talk specifically about Southeast Asia. You know, I know a lot of guys gonna have questions about the Euro League. I never played in the Euro League, but you have different classes. I'm gonna use the Philippines for an example, right? You have the top ranked PBA league. You know, that league typically only looks for, you know, NBA players. You also have the NBL league in the Philippines, and you also have, you know, opportunities to, you know, travel, you know, go to Cebu and get on the travel team. So each league, you know, the pay category is broken down. The PBA paying the most. That's typically around, you know, with imports, that's typically around 20,000 a month. That's just starting, but I've heard NBA players getting into that league, they're making well over 70, 80,000 a month. And then you have the NBL league in the Philippines. That league typically pays around $3,000 to $5,000 a month.
Oh, that's good money.
Yeah, $3,000 to $5,000 a month. Yeah, and then you have the travel teams as well, and it all depends on the venue. But typically that pays around, I would say about $2,000 to $3,000 a month.
Okay.
Yeah, but with the highest paying league outside the NBA is the CBA league. That's in China, followed by, you know, you have the league in Japan.
Is that the one Stephon Marbury paid for?
That's the one Stephon Marbury's
Okay.
playing on. You know, they made the statues for him. What else? You got the league in Korea, South Korea, and you have Japan as well. So those are like top paying leagues outside, you know, the NBA, excluding all of the, you know, opportunity in Europe. Because I know Europe, you got countries like France, stuff that are top notch. But my information is only for the most part on like Southeast Asia.
And like, what's like the competition like? Do they play a little differently?
They play
game
completely different.
Okay?
So in the States, for the most part, man, guys got this. We got the bag work, we got the skill, we got the talent, but But a lot of the guys, like we got so much talent, we tend to get lazy in our craft. We're not true to working on our game. We don't stay. A lot of us, we don't even stay in shape in the States like that, unfortunately. But when it comes to playing out here in Asia, like these Thai dudes, man, they in shape. They running. They don't have the skill set that we have, but they're running. They can shoot the ball really well. Philippines is physical. Them guys is in shape. Very physical game. It's perfectly allowed for them to throw elbows, bridge you in the ribs. So the game is completely different. These guys out here, I gotta say, like they're hungrier. They're definitely hungrier than a lot of the guys in the States. But pound for pound, we'll beat them off talent. But for motivation, motivation and the drive, that's how they'll get us.
Okay.
So you really gotta be in shape to play out of it, especially in this heat too.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
And let me ask you this, man. Are there like any unique perks like housing, bonuses, incentives you got playing overseas that kind of like surprise you? Like,
Yeah. So in the Philippines, and I'm gonna assume I hear a lot of horror stories too when it comes to like, 'cause I got certain teammates when I was playing in the ABA league and in the TBL league in the States. I heard of some horror stories. I didn't experience this personally, but I've heard of horror stories where one of my guys, they'll go out there, they'll play in Iraq. They'll go out there and there's an issue with housing, there's an issue with funding for the team. And then I have some guys that go to a different European country, they're having problems, So far, like, I haven't met anybody that had problems coming out here to Southeast Asia. I think too, the culture of the, location dictates the experience you're gonna have as well.
all right, so did your overseas career open up doors to other income streams like endorsements, coachings, or side hustles?
Yeah, as of now, no, but I'm gonna be completely honest, still new to playing overseas. I'm still hunting down opportunity. However, me, with the way I like to network, spoke to a lot of brothers out here, I'm actually finding opportunities for me to jump into IT and get out of medicine where I could just stay abroad, all year instead of having to worry and go back and do a travel nursing contract. I could just stay here in Thailand.
Like, what's your take on financial literacy among overseas players? Do most guys handle their money well? Are they like going to the clubs, balling out, and partying?
Yeah, honestly, it depends. Guys who've been playing overseas for a while, compared to like the younger players, they tend to be more financially responsible.
Oh, than the older players.
Yeah, the older players, I would say
Oh,
the older players.
okay.
Yeah, the older players tend to be more like, financially like responsible. The younger players, they're new to the, overseas game, traveling, being exposed to a different culture, so they tend to go more crazy.
Okay. And what's one thing you learned about, yourself from playing ball in another country?
Yeah, I learned, man, that's a good question actually. One thing that I learned, there's always something to learn from somebody else's culture. It's good to those preconceived judgments that you may have about a different culture. It's good to leave that westernized thinking back at home. Once you come out here, you learn to realize you're judged as an American. They don't really care too much about your race or anything like that. It's more are you an American, and then they're gonna hold you to a higher standard.
What advice would you give to young hoopers considering going overseas for that first time?
Yeah, it's a good question. The advice that I would give, man, always have a backup. Don't solely depend on the overseas contracts, but always have a backup. So network with multiple agents. Don't just rely on one guy. Do your homework. If you have an agent who's trying to get money from you up front, chances are it's probably the guy you don't want to work with. Do your homework. And the most important thing, man, is I see a lot of guys, they playing overseas, but they don't have a plan B to fall back on. So once basketball dries up or you age out, you gotta figure out like, hey, this is what I'm gonna do to keep money flowing.
Okay, so for my guys that's like in high school or fresh out of college or something, they didn't really make the league or something like that, they can go to these other leagues.
They could go to a bunch of these combines. So the TBL league, right? It's one of the leagues that I play in. Typically, that league starts around January. It runs from January all the way to I would say like April or May. So they announce combines around the holidays. So a lot of teams, a lot of the coaches, a lot of the agents that are there, they hosted tryouts and the combines around, I would say around November, December. They like to assemble their team early. And then for the ABA league, it kind of follows, NBA season. So ABA season starts around like October, preseason starts around September, and then season starts around October, and it goes all the way to like April or May.
Okay.
Yeah. So with that, those tryouts usually happen towards the end of the summer. So I would say for a lot of the college players, that are graduating college, they still want to continue their career. Make sure that you keep an eye out for those combines and those announcements, and then go in there, bring your A game.
Okay. Now, are there any specific countries or leagues you would recommend or warn players to kind of avoid? I know you mentioned the agents, but
honestly, I don't want to air nobody's other league out or anything like that, because I didn't experience any of it since I've been traveling. But I would just say do your due diligence before you sign any contract. Make sure you read it, and most importantly, I recommend that you travel to that country first before you even sign a contract. Go, see your perspective, try to figure out where the facility's at, see what the food is like, see what the culture's like. Don't just get your opportunity, sign a contract, and now you're in this country, you never even been there before. You want to try to avoid those bad experiences. So see what the culture's like, see how the locals will treat you. Don't just pick up and leave once you get your chance.
okay.
So I would try to go out there. The season starts. Let's say you're going to a country, whether it's in South America, Asia, Europe. The season's gonna start around September. I will go out there a couple of months before the season starts as like a vacation. Spend a month out there, figure out where everything is at, figure out where you want to eat at, figure out where the facility's at. Because in my experience, when I first got to the Philippines, luckily I was there before, the season started. Once I landed, I didn't even have a chance to really unpack my things. We had practice right away, and I'm hearing a lot of players going through that. Like once you landed, you sign your contract, you land in that country, everything is all good. You got practice within 2 hours. They don't care if you don't know. Yeah, sometimes, man, they don't care if you don't know where the gym is at, where the 7-Eleven is at to buy your essentials, your toiletries. You need to be there. So it's good to kind of have like a layout of the place before you go.
On a scale of 1 to 10, as far as the skill level, right? The skill level. Where do you think guys need to be at? Kind of like me. We hoop together, but I'm not like you're on a different level. Like let's be real. You know what I'm saying? And, hold on. Let me say. I do be hooping, guys. You know what I'm saying? I be dealing them up.
He's strong too. VT strong, man. He got some bag work in the post. Yeah.
But what I mean by like that level. Like what level do you think you got to be on a scale of 1 to 10 to get like a overseas contract?
Yeah, I can't really grade it I can't just say, you got to be at like a 7 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10. You just got to have something that you specialize in on the court. A lot of guys, like with a lot of bigs, what they specialize is like, the athleticism, the defense, the footwork. If you're a smaller guard, like myself, I'm 6'1", I'm considered a smaller guard. So with that, I got to be a lockdown defender. I got to be trusted with the wide open jump shot, and my off the dribble game. It has to be tight because you're going to be, a lot of coaches, they're going to expect you to knock down that open shot, and they're going to expect you to pick up at 94 feet. You got to be right there. You have to be a menace on defense. There's no excuses. So if you could defend and shoot the ball effectively at a high clip, you shouldn't have any problems.
Do you think that this is a good opportunity for guys to kind of lead the states that are decent at basketball?
Yeah, it's a perfect opportunity. And two, another opportunity, and I wish I got put onto this earlier. Look into me. I took my nursing career, right, with basketball. I'm leveraging it into, IT. I'm slowly getting into IT. I'm learning day by day. I started out with, travel nursing. So maybe the career that you have, like whether you're playing basketball, whether you're in medicine or any other careers, maybe you could start traveling and networking with other dudes, and you could take what you're doing right now, leverage it into something else that could give you more, more of an opportunity.
All right, man. Excellent.
Sir.
What's good, family? Make sure to check out the official Passport Bros merch store.